Good afternoon, everybody. I'm actually late morning. My name is Anthony Kazazis, and I am the director of the NYC Network Group, as well as the NYC Real Estate Expo. And today we have here with us Bob Beck, AVP Sales of Emigrant Mortgage Company, and his guest is John LAGOUDIS, MBA, President of Aegean Commercial Capital. Their webinar topic is how Emigrant's portfolio products help brokers close deals. This 30-minute conversation will cover some of the best ways to meet the needs of small balance commercial customers. There is no Q&A today, so please, after this is done, Emigrant's team will have everybody's email address, so they'll submit out information on how to contact Robert and John. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Robert Beck from Emigrant.
First of all, thank you, Anthony, for inviting us, and thank you for NYC Networking Group for letting us be a sponsor. Good morning, I'm Bob Peck with Emigrant Mortgage. I've been with Emigrant Mortgage for over 11 years now. I've been in the financial industry, banking industry for over 35 years. For those of you not familiar with Emigrant Mortgage, I'll give you a quick overview. Emigrant Mortgage is a subsidiary of Emigrant Bank. Emigrant Bank has been in New York City since 1850. We're one of the oldest banks in the city, continuous savings bank. We offer commercial and residential products. On the commercial side, our average loans we do small commercial balance lender. Our maximum loan size is $5 million. Our typical loan is probably, I'd say, between the 1 to 2 million range. We go as low as maybe 200,000, depending on the person, the broker, if it's worth it. We do multifamily, mixed use. We love mixed use products. We do underlying co-ops, small warehouses, retail offices, along with dental and medical offices. On the residential side, we do both agency and portfolio products. I'm pleased to have John LAGOUDIS with me with Aegean Mortgage. At this point, I'd like to introduce him to you and have him give us a little background on his company and himself. John?
Thank you, Bob, and thank you again for having me be a part of this discussion, and to Anthony Kazazis for allowing me to join in this conversation. My company is Aegean Mortgage, also Aegean Commercial Capital, where we facilitate anything from multifamily, mixed use, warehouses, SBA to construction loans. We're a broker in New York, licensed here, registered by the New York City Banking Department, but we also do commercial loans across 50 states. Anywhere from 200,000 to 100 million, it's possible to facilitate the financing through Aegean Mortgage. And I'm grateful to have a good friend, Bob, here that has helped me on several transactions over the past 15 years in my career in the mortgage business, both residential and commercial. Bob's really invited me here to discuss some of our past deals and how we've achieved success in closing them through Emigrant's unique portfolio lending product. And that's really the nutshell about my company. Myself, I've been in the business for 15 years, grew up in the business. Father and uncle owned a large mortgage brokerage from the mid 80s, and it goes full circle. Anthony Kazazis in the 90s did work for my family as well. I remember him as a kid growing up in the office, and I kind of grew up in this business, and I understand what it takes to be innovative and agile to find solutions for our unique customers that Bob and I have together on certain deals that we work with. Thank you again, Bob, for having me.
Okay, yeah, and your whole family is definitely involved. Like you said, growing up, it's like a group of police officers or firemen, like your whole family just is tied up in the real estate between title lawyers and everything. One thing about Emigrant, we specialize in, we're more of a smaller bank. We pride ourselves on having a niche product. We do some of the things that some of the banks won't. We go outside the box. We don't have a fit box, and if it doesn't fit, we can't do it. We'll do people with lower credit scores. We'll do things that don't seem right. If a person has great payment history on their mortgage, say, and they made one mistake. They forgot to pay a doctor bill or a phone bill that they canceled, and it dropped the score. We're not going to hold that against them. We're going to do common sense lending. And that's, we're not the biggest bank out there, but we're small enough that we could help if we need to change a policy or to get something approved. I have that ability to do it. John, I know you work with a lot of other banks. What's some of the things that you see with Emigrant that make you want to come to us or you use us for?
So again, I'm affiliated with a lot of different banks, and I do have the ability to do some unique deals, but I go to Emigrant over the past maybe 7, 8 years together. We've been working, Bob, on certain deals because they have an eye for real estate. They're not only lenders, they understand the equity. More importantly, they understand the person that's behind the equity. Bob and I have had deals where they are longtime owners of the property, not necessarily reporting the best of income on tax returns, not necessarily reporting the best of credit, but they have good equity. And they know block by block the type of property. They know block by block in New York, especially in my area that we do business in. They understand the community and they understand the owners. And in my business, my ethnicity, my background being Greek, most of my clients tend to have that background as well. And we come across unique situations that Bob and his entire group are able to understand.
A lot of our clients are just the mom and pop borrowers. We do some of the bigger borrowers out there in the portfolio, but we specialize in, we love mixed use that are owner occupied. I know some of the banks are very strict on mixed use. If the commercial portion has to be less than 51% or above 51 of the income, and they put a lot of restrictions on it. A lot of banks, I realize, don't even prefer not to have owner occupied. We take a different look at it. We feel if the person who is occupying the commercial space is also the owner of the property, they're going to do everything they can to keep that property and to make their payments on time. Perfect example is what happened during COVID. The minute things went bad and when the landlord wasn't helping them out, a lot of them just jumped out and moved, either shut down or moved, 2 blocks down for cheaper rent. With us, and it's not always like us, we do investors, but our borrowers who own the building, they're not going to leave. They're going to do everything they can to keep their shop open and to keep their building for themselves. I remember you came to us, I think it was the second week during COVID, when everything looked like no one knew what was going on. And I want to get into specifics, but you had a restaurant owner with a deal that came to us, correct?
Yeah, we had 34th Avenue in Astoria, mixed-use property restaurant. During COVID, we were able to facilitate the deal and close it while the restaurant was still closed because Emigrant understood the LTV, understood the property and the business behind it. They struggled initially, but we see the struggle as a success, people like Bob and I, where we can find the solution through practical matters, and we're not diving into the minute figures of tax returns or credit or minor things that come up in commercial mixed-use small balance deals like this. And Bob was able to close it with Emigrant during COVID, with the restaurant closed, and the clients were more than happy to work with them on that. Good rate, good term. During COVID, I think they took a 12-month reserve, and they were logical. They said, we're going to take the reserve. And they made a logical real estate business person decision. It's not a huge bank where there's no communication with everyone. When I have an email from Bob, it's literally 5 people within it. And as a broker, I appreciate the communication because that leads to success in the deal. And they do that.
Good. Yeah, which is true here, which I like about Emigrant also. Literally, the vice chairman is 20 feet from my office. Except we call for here every day. The president of Emigrant Funding Corporation is the next office over. The head of the appraisal department is the next office down to that. So when we come across problems or any sort of hiccups, you don't have to wait till the committee meets once a week or send an email to go through 3 or 4 levels. I literally just walk next door and explain it. And we're more, we're basically kind of like you started out, it's a family bank with the Milstein Company. We're all not related, but we feel like we are with us. If I think another advantage of us is even after we close the loan is the service we get, which I know once you do the loan, you like to stay with your customers. I know you get a lot of repeat business, because you service them well. And when they call us, they mostly get the same 1 or 2 people. It's not these larger banks where you call in and you get transferred and you got to hit a million numbers and press 1 for this and press 2, and then you get stuck in the Midwest or somewhere in India where someone answered the phone. Most likely you're going to be with one of 2 people in customer service like every time you call them, mainly because we only have 1 to 3 people in our customer service department handling that department. So you get the same people and you build a relationship. It's not every time if any of them they didn't get the bill or they can't pay the bill late, or if anything happens, I noticed that I don't deal that side, but for the trade shows I do and people who work with us, they always talk very highly of us. And I think that reflects on you too, that once you find a lender that they give the customer service that your customers deserve to get, which I think helps your relationship with them.
It's a quick yes, not a long no. And that's important to convey the message to clients on my side, because again, we're dealing with a lot of savvy people, but in a sense, it's a community-based mortgage brokerage at Aegean. So we deal with the community guys here, and necessarily they look at me to tell them their answers and explain to them the process. And I got to say, Emigrant makes it very easy. PECK, John, Bob will call me, Richard will call me and tell me, no, yes, or yes, this is what has to happen.
Yep, exactly.
Clarity is so important to me because working with a lot of other big institutions, there's so many people involved. We had a deal, Bob, I don't know if you remember, it was 2717 49th. It was a warehouse deal recently that we closed together. Owner-occupied warehouse in Astoria. He was a courier service. So my client owned the building for 30 plus years and no mortgage, anything like that. But the courier business shot up, tax returns changed. And again, owner-occupied building, good LTV. They gave us a great term. They took a very small COVID reserve, but there was fluctuation in his tax returns. And again, they saw the logical approach. And that's a deal where the client, Andrew, couldn't do with anyone else. Like the minute a large institution saw the tax returns and the P&L fluctuate because of an increase in business, they always questioned it. Whereas Emigrant saw, well, the LTV is great. The guy's the owner-occupied, has been there 30 years since 84. Where is he going to go? And that's the logical reason why I would use you guys.
Yeah, well, exactly. Like you said, it's logical, whether, and we're not the IRS, of course, we look at the tax returns or, the part of the product, but, we look at the person also. The guy lived there for 30 years. A lot of these times their sons work for the company. They're going to take over the plant for another 30 years. They hit hard times. The guy had no mortgage. He needed some money just to help him through the COVID. A lot of people just wanted for security. It makes sense to lend it to us. For us, it's like a perfect fit. We look at it, why wouldn't you lend to someone like this?
Yeah, it was logical.
No. Also, what I like, and you could probably tell them more, is when you have a deal to come to me, like you said, it's usually a quick process. Instead of putting a whole application together, you literally usually just call me or send me a brief outline, And within 5 minutes, you and I talking on the phone, I tell you if we could do it or not. I've known you for a long time. I know the type of deals you give me. I know you tell me the best thing you do is you tell me the good, the bad, the ugly. You don't sugarcoat anything. You tell me, because at the end of the day, it's going to come out. So what's good in my trust with you is I know when you bring the deals in, I think we got the same trust is I'll give you a quick yes or a quick no, like you said, or if we can't do it, we'll tell you what you could do to make it happen. If the equity isn't there, we're flexible where we could, put a different property in for cross collateralize it, or, some cases they don't like to put their home as additional collateral. But it's usually, you send me a lot of deals, and it's not the process that takes 3 or 4 days to get back to you. It's usually a quick, like you said, 5-minute conversation.
And if there's any other mortgage brokers on this call, definitely reach out and give them an opportunity. But as far as what they do, Bob reiterated very well. Some other deals that we did apartment building loans in Coney Island. A few of them, I think I remember doing with you, where it was a brand new multifamily owner purchase situation on an 18 family, and the owner didn't have the experience to run a stabilized building. Emigrant looked beyond that and looked at the property and realized that the client did have real estate background, just not in multifamilies. So whereas CRE lender or a larger institution like Chase or Dime, they don't necessarily, they say no automatically if they didn't have the experience. And Emigrant did that for us on I think it was an 18 family apartment building, Coney Island. I think it was a 7 LTV purchase deal we did like 2 years ago. And it was very tough for me to place it. And we did it with Emigrant at, again, a fair rate and a fair term. Whereas another bank didn't see the logic to lend to someone without the experience with rent stabilized buildings. That's something that you guys can talk about too.
Yeah. And just to get back to like how we give you, a straight yes or no, it's, to be honest, I'm commissioned. We don't charge any application fee, just the appraisal fee to start out. You own your own company. If at the end of the day it doesn't close, not only do you get an aggravated customer, you don't make any money neither. I'm in the same boat as you. It's a win-win situation. It's not like we take it in and whether win or lose, we're going to make money on it. We have our own in-house appraisers. The appraisal fee I consider very reasonable, or even, not excessive, no application fee. So, and we don't want to waste our time. We don't want to waste your time or our time. So as you notice, as you know, once in a while things come you didn't expect and we didn't see coming, something happens. Yeah, some past history or some bankruptcy they didn't tell us about, or some, some of these people have a $300,000 tax lien, and I'm sure they didn't tell you about it, and at the end of the day, like, please, you think we weren't going to find out about this? They just try to, keep going to every lender till someone just doesn't pick it up. So we're very thorough, but, when you do everything find out, they usually, what I pride myself on is if I say we're going to close for you, majority of the time we close for you. And that, I think that's what's more important for your clients too.
Reputation is everything. I think my reputation in getting deals to the table is really why someone would use a broker like myself, and knowing where to take the deal is important, and knowing how to structure it with the lender, and knowing the lender personally, knowing you, Bob, I appreciate it, and your whole team. And that's the important part, the clarity and the communication, and my response to the client through the process will indicate my integrity as the mortgage broker. And if you're responsive as the bank to me, I'm able to convey the message, especially with the mix of the mortgage products that you do have. And I would love to learn a little bit more about your 1 to 4 family LLC loans as well. I did them in the past, 1 to 4 families. I lived in that space for 10 years. It burned me out, but I want to learn a little bit more about what you guys have on the 1 to 4 family as well, and that could be a discussion topic. You know, the
Yeah,
LLC.
actually, yeah, we're gonna have something coming up with Anthony in a couple months too. We'll get more detail with that, but that's very popular now, especially with the rent stabilized, the new stabilization law, the 1 to 4. More investors are getting to look at it, you know, ever since they changed the rent stabilization laws the summer before last. Or was it? Geez, for COVID, I think 2 summers ago. I want to thank you, I mean, for the kind words you've given to us, Bob. Thanks for saying why you come to us, but while we got a few minutes left, you know, to tell me a little bit about your company, some of the products you do, and why, you know, some borrowers looking for someone would want to go to, you know, call you.
It's a crazy question. I again, I had a dinner last night with a client of mine, and he goes, "What do you really do for a living?" And to be honest with you, we do everything that is possible to get it there. It's the communication with the title, communication with insurance, communication with the appraiser, every facet of the process. To be a successful mortgage broker, you got to learn it in order to get there. And it took me, you know, humbly 15 years to get to that, you know, point of movement, tremendously different than what I was in my early 20s starting. But, you know, what we do is we lend in 50 states. I have affiliation with 47 banks around the country. And I've been fortunate enough to make this communication through my years in the business and being signed up with all these institutions. We do roughly about 75 to 100 million a year in lending. And I'm a 2-person operation. So wow. It's me and an assistant. And I just know when to seek out the deal. Meaning a client calls me, I'm going to give them a quick no if I don't like the deal, just like you do to me. But if I like the deal and I meet the client, I still do the handshake and I still have an understanding of their process. You know, that's really what we try to focus on, is the connection between me and the client, because it's all referral driven. I don't do any advertisement. It's funny that I have this flag, and I was telling Bob before, is because we put it on my beach house outside as a joke to all the community. But I really don't advertise. I do some emails here and there, but people call me because they need something done that someone else couldn't do. If it's a mess, and if it's a big mess, because of my education and my experience, I'm you know, able to see the vision of how to successfully close the deal. And you've been helpful in that with me as well. And again, you know, we do construction loans. I do SBA loans. I do a lot of private money with a family fund. So we have, you know, the ability to do bridge loans. If something happens during a deal and you need to close, and I know the client, I'm able to bridge the loan out myself and then refinance it later on after completion of the bridge with, you know, Emigrant or any other bank that I choose to.
Yeah, actually, yeah, we did a loan with you once. I think you had a second mortgage on it at that time with a couple borrowers to take out, because whatever they needed at that time, they were short by, I think it was 150, and you personally helped them out to cover it, to get them to the next step to come to us. So it's fantastic. And at the end of the day, like you said, it's all about closing. You know, it's
we don't kind of see. We're not a paycheck people. I've never done a W in my life.
But you seem like me. I love to close the loans, but what I don't get excited as much. Well, when the loan closes, it closes. But you seem to be like me. I enjoy the hunt. You know, it's just bringing in the loans. Once it's done, the first thing I think about is, now I got to get more loans in to get the pipeline. I just love the hunt and the chase. You know, it's not like a residential broker where if they fit this FICO, they get this LTV and this. I love when it just makes me happy when I find a loan that no one else could do, and especially with you, we find a way to get it done. Yeah. That's, you know, it takes the monotony out of it. It makes, you know, it makes you the things like wake up in the morning and want to get back to work.
Oh, it's the challenge. It's crazy. The stress level that you can attain as a mortgage broker it's very few and far between. I'm sure you guys have a lot of mortgage brokers signed up with you, but you know, you've been in the business over 100 years. I mean, my father was using the Milsteins in the late 70s for business with you guys.
I believe it. Yeah, it's a roller coaster, like, I mean, a couple of our deals, you know, it's almost like a cat had 9 legs. They died, you know, they're dead, and all of a sudden you call me, all right. And that's what I like about you too. You know, some of these brokers, you say, listen, this happened, they didn't. Some of the more inexperienced ones, they'll start yelling, you said it could get done. Yeah, but you didn't tell me the person had $150,000 tax lien or whatever the case. You never get upset. The first thing when I say is we got an issue is you sit down and say, what can we do to correct it and make it go forward? And you're always looking like I am. We don't get upset at the first hiccup. We give up on it. You and I always seem to find a way to, at the end of the day, to make the deal close.
Yeah, no. And if any other brokers out there, give Bob a call and sign up with them.
Absolutely. The only thing I want to say is, I know you're doing a great amount of business and successful, because the other night when I called you up, you were at this beautiful place in Florida on your balcony. So enjoyed yourself. So I know you do have many fun. And you said you're starting to, we're actually starting to get more aggressive in Florida too. And you said you're going to start doing a lot more loans there also.
I did a triple net type of car wash deal with Ocean First down there. But you know, we do. Again, I would love to work with you guys down there. And there's not a lot of multifamily apartment buildings, but a lot of my owners that sold the properties, they 1031 money down to Florida. So I'm able to, you know, with the 50 states, I'm open to go to Florida and do deals now. So that, you know, benefit. But if you guys are in Florida, I'm in to do business with you guys.
Yeah. Okay. I see Anthony. Sorry, time was. John, I want to thank you though for once again, thank you for being with us, for the great business you're doing with us. Anthony, I want to thank you for the opportunity to go on your show with John and with New York City Expo networking group. Thanks again.
You guys are great. Thank you, Robert. Thank you, John. And those were the good old days. Someone just sent me an email where we used to work for a mortgage roll. I used to work for John's father and his uncle, and those were great days. And we used to process deals and send deals to Emigrant. So everybody, Emigrant is a great company to work for. Again, there was a lot of people live streaming. And once again, the office of Emigrant will be sending out a nice thank you letter with a nice video with information on how you could contact Robert and John thereafter if you have any questions. Once again, this concludes the webinar. We want to thank you guys both. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, guys.
Take care.
Bye-bye, guys.